like to have a lot of characters and sub-storylines running around.
Mm-hmm.
Some people wish I wouldn't. Okay, they wish that I would, focus in on 3 people and just follow them through the books. My problem is that to my ear as a reader, as well as a storyteller, that always strikes a false note. Okay, I'm never quite able to just sort of let myself go and say, okay, Captain Kirk and Spock have this, we don't need the rest of Starfleet. Or, oh, don't worry, Han and Luke are on the job here. We don't need those other pilots. Well, the other thing about it is that it winds up giving me a deep bench. Okay? There are characters who have become major characters who originally only appeared in 1 chapter. Mm-hmm. And that was really kind of what the reader thought was going to happen with them. And I hadn't said to myself, oh, Helen Zwilicki, she's going to be really important down the road here. Okay. But the number of characters that I develop, that I present, let me do that. Mm-hmm. It also means that when we lose a character, there's somebody logically to step into the hole in the story that character leaves without my having to say, oh yeah, this guy that I didn't tell you about, but he's been there for 20 years.
Right.
Okay. And I like that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that the same officers can't fight all the battles. Okay? And the way that I fight battles is to keep track of what's happening by putting you on the bridges and in the gun positions and whatnot and I won't do that with just nameless, faceless, who cares if they get killed characters. Okay? I want those characters to be somebody that is real, that the reader is invested in, so that they understand that when this guy gets killed or this woman gets killed, this is somebody's wife, husband, father, daughter, son, mother, okay? Not just a spear carrier. And that's important to me. I hadn't realized for some years how important that is to me, but it is important. And it's painful for the reader sometimes, I know, because, oh, you made me like this guy and then you killed him. A reviewer on, or an editor actually, at one of the publishers, reading Insurrection, the first novel that Steve and I did, made a remark about, if he kills one more character while I'm behind that character's eyes. Okay. And I do that. All right. And I do that because I'm writing military fiction, because that's what happens in combat. You very seldom get, Dear Dave, you will be killed at 1:05 p.m. on Thursday the 7th.
Right.
Please settle your affairs accordingly.
Yeah, you
okay.
Can't.
It doesn't work that way. And one of the things that I think it's important to capture if you're going to be doing military science fiction is that it's not cost-free, and that there's a certain capriciousness to who lives and who dies.
Well, what goes into deciding who lives and who dies in your books?
More than anything else, the situation.
Okay.
If I've created a situation in which a major character is at risk, and I'm looking at how the battle is working out, and their ship blows up, usually they're pretty much SOL. And that, too, is the way that real life is. I killed Alistair McKeon in At All Costs. Andrew LaFollette, all of Honor's original armsmen are killed before the books are over. Now, if I were to turn around and kill Sir Horace Harkness, tomorrow, I would have a lot of people who were upset with me. I'm going to have people who are upset with me when they get to the end of Uncompromising Honor, no matter what. Okay, I know that. But I think that one of the things that makes my storytelling style work is that my readers, the people who like my stories, understand that nobody is guaranteed to get out alive. Okay? They don't read them so that they can see how many people I killed this week.
Right.
But they realize when they invest themselves in a character that I may kill that character. Okay? And that, I think, helps them to really internalize the aspects of that character that appealed to them in the first place. It pisses them off when the character dies. But you're supposed to be pissed off when somebody that you care about dies.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not making you care about the people who are being killed, I'm not doing my job. And if I tell you, don't worry, you can fight a war with with millions of casualties in it, and that's okay, you won't know any of the people who got killed. Okay? It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And, you know. But there are a few characters, there are instances in which I have created situations specifically to kill a character or a group of characters because it's important for the development of other characters or whatever in the book that they lose them.
Right.
Okay? But as a general rule, no. As a general rule, I look at the situation I've created and say, okay, who's at risk? Okay, and how is this going to break down in the end? And I'm willing to kill characters. And that, too, is partly a function of that deep bench of mine. Because when I killed Honor's Armsman, for example, okay, we lose Simon, we lose Jamie Candless, we lose, okay, and when we lose them, then out of that deep bench comes their replacement. So that now Honor's current Armsman has actually been with her for about, I think he was with her for at least 2 books, maybe 3, before she tried to keep Andrew safe by leaving him home, and he wound up getting killed saving her infant son's life. But there's that continuity that I can maintain even though critical parts of Honor's life or of the Royal Manticore Navy or whatever have been lost. And that's another thing that is the way life is.
Right. Well, that's a big time-wise investment to develop that character all through the books, and then the situation arises.
Well, it's a big it's a big time investment for the reader too.
Right.
Because you've spent your time saying, well, I really like this character, and then that SOB killed him, or her, as the case may be. Mercedes Brigham almost got killed a few books back. There was trying to figure out how to make the action sequence work out, and she was one of the people at risk. A lot of people are still really pissed with me over Ranhild Pavlitic in Shadow of Saganami, because she's this midshipwoman. She's got this great career going for her. Okay, she is such a good pilot that the captain has taken this midshipwoman on her snotty cruise and made her his personal pinnace pilot anywhere they go. And she's carrying out a routine boarding operation, and it turns out that what they're boarding is actually a slave ship. And one of the guys on board panics and opens fires at point defense and just blows her away in mid-thought, kills everybody on the pinnace, like that. Okay? And I hated doing that. I really, really did. But it's the kind of really bad stuff that happens. And the incident is critical to how the entire history of the Honorverse unfolds after that incident. But yeah, that hurts. When you lose a character like that, though, among other things, it allows you to humanize the characters who survive and who have to cope with losing. There's a scene after Ranhild is killed where her friend Helen Zilwicki is going through her locker, packing it up, and she just can't. I mean, she just can't. Okay. And one of the other midshipmen comes in, and he and Helen eventually they're in the process of evolving a relationship, a very deep relationship. But he comes in while she's sitting there. She's on her knees, where she's been trying to do the locker, and she's crying. She can't do it. And he comes in and he says, "Of course you can't. You loved her." And he puts an arm around her and says, "Go ahead and cry, and then we'll do it together." Okay. Now, if I hadn't made you care about Randhild, and if I then hadn't taken her away from the characters in the book like that, senselessly, okay, with no warning, no opportunity to say goodbye, no opportunity to do anything, when all of a sudden this comes down, that scene with Helen and Paula wouldn't have worked. You see what I'm saying? So killing a character is not something that anybody should ever do lightly. Okay, if it's easy for you to kill the character, then you're not doing your job right, because you're not investing enough of yourself in the character. So if you don't do that, how can you expect the reader to invest in the character? All right. But by the same token, you have to be willing as the storyteller to do it, even if it hurts. I can think of about 3 or 4 characters right offhand where I tried desperately to rewrite the book without killing that character, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't make the story work without it. Now, whether the story was truly unworkable without it, or whether it was just that the strength of the story by doing it was so evident
with
to
it
me
in there, right?
that I, and my go-to example for that is when I kill Andrew LaFollette. Randhild's another good example, but on a micro scale. Okay, when I killed Andrew, I tried 4 or 5 times to write the chapter with him living, and I couldn't do it. I probably said, I know I've said this before at cons. I don't know whether or not I've said it in one of our talks. But basically, the problem was that Honor lost 98% of her family from the Star Kingdom in this attack, the Oyster Bay attack, which is the one that Andrew's killed in. But you really hadn't met a single member of her family who didn't live. Okay? Because she hasn't been home a lot. You haven't seen her interacting with aunts and uncles and whatnot. Okay. And that's who she loses. Aunts, uncles, cousins. She's an only child. Both of her parents survive. Her younger brother and sister survive. And her child survives. Okay, so her core family survives. Right. But she's lost all the rest of these people who were important to her, even if the reader's never seen them. Okay, so in the scene in which Hamish is telling her that about the attack and about the strike that takes out her, the Iwata strike that creates the tsunami that kills so much of her family, he also has to tell her that Andrew's been killed. And you know how much Andrew means to her. Andrew has been there for her. She and Andrew have admitted to themselves, but never to each other, how much he loves her, and that's the reason he's never married. Okay, I mean, that's how close they are. They've never said it to each other, but they've both recognized what's going on there. And that's one reason why she tries to keep him safe by leaving him home. Okay? And that's why dying, saving her son's life, if you told Andrew LaFollette, Andy, you got to die. Okay, now, how would you rather go out? Okay, he would, one from column A, one from column B, that's what he would have chosen. Okay, and I think one reason the readers didn't get as angry at me as they might have is that he did die. It wasn't like Randhild. Okay, he died accomplishing the sublime mission of his life, which is saving his future steadholder's life and his current steadholder's son's life. Okay, but when I took him away from Andrew, from Honor, and when you saw her have to deal with that, you could extrapolate from that to that. Oh my God! And she's lost 98% of her family on top of that. Okay, that's why I couldn't not kill Andrew.
Right.
But like I say, you should never just say, I'm tired of writing about this guy, I mean, if you're really, really tired of writing him and that's the only way you can get him out of the story, you better kill him, because if you're tired of writing him, you're not going to write him real well.
Right.
Okay. But by and large, I got a big enough canvas that if I'm tired about writing about somebody for a while, I can send him off to Silesia or, wherever.
Yeah.
We'll get back to him,